Oh, shoot. Hold on. We'll have to edit this. Sorry. I'll edit it afterwards. But
All
here we
right,
go.
sounds good. And welcome in everyone to this episode of Craze's Corner. Make sure you stay tuned. We're going to be doing a bold prediction fantasy football episode for this 2022 fantasy football season. So you're going to make sure you stay tuned. But first, we're going to get into some news. The biggest news of the week, Stephon Diggs signed a massive 4-year, $104 million extension with $70 million guaranteed. This is obviously big money for the leading wide receiver in Buffalo to return. They're the first team to ever have paid their quarterback over $100 million guaranteed and a wide receiver over $70 million guaranteed. The first, but they certainly will not be the last, as wide receivers are tending to get paid. Staying with the wide receiver theme, A.J. Brown will be staying on the Tennessee Titans, at least for now. The Titans have been not taking all the trade calls, and they plan on working on an extension with A.J. Brown, similar to DK Metcalf, where the Seahawks also have said that they do not want to trade DK Metcalf and they won't be accepting calls. And Brandon Cooks is likely staying put as well, unless the Texans are blown away by an offer. And another wide receiver, Devante Parker, was traded from the Dolphins to the New England Patriots. So he will be with Mac Jones, possibly resurrecting his career as they get off to a slow start in Miami. So we'll see what he can do in New England with 2 years left on his deal. So what do you guys think of the New England Patriots this year? Do you think Devante Parker is going to be a good addition to this offense? Does he help Mac Jones' development? Let us know using the Media app. The Media app is a virtual press conferencing app that allows you to host a press conference from your phone and post it straight to any social media platform you choose. It's extremely simple to use. You have all the power at your fingertips. So you're going to want to make sure you check that out. It's at the Google Play and the App Store. And now let's welcome in our guests. We have Jeff and Will. Welcome in, guys.
What's happening? What's happening?
Not too much. We know we got a big show here, some bold predictions coming up for sure. So you guys, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear some reasoning behind some of these takes, but I'm going to start us off with something I've been going for this entire offseason. Trevor Lawrence is going to finish top 12, if not top 10. As a fantasy football quarterback. They have put some money into the offensive line, bringing in Brandon Sheriff. They could go and draft a tackle as well. They could also not, because they did tag Cam Robinson to bring him back. They put some money into that wide receiving core, bringing in Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, along with already having Marvin Jones Jr. and Laviska Shenault, bringing in Evan Ingram to also be a pass-catching option as Travis Etienne comes back. He gets healthy. Trevor Lawrence also has a little bit of rushing upside. He had 73 rushing attempts last season, only had 2 touchdowns, but as the Jaguars offense progresses, I expect to see that number go up a little bit as well. Last season he already had over 600 pass attempts, so I think it's just going to be that same volume, but he's going to see more higher touchdowns, and he's going to throw less interceptions. Last year he was the quarterback 23, but I expect him to increase that. And as I said, I think he'll be a top 12 with all the talent that they've added and him taking a big step forward in year 2. Jeff, what do you think of Trevor Lawrence finishing in top 12?
You're rather bullish on Trevor Lawrence, man. I'm not quite as bullish. I can never be really bullish on anybody that is with the Jags. It's one of the for fantasy purposes, that's a show me state type thing where I will pick somebody off the waiver wires if they surprise me. Other than that one surprising season where they made it to the AFC Championship, it should have won that game. I the only guy I think I've ever owned on that team was DJ Chark, and now he's gone. So, I don't know. It's new coaching staff. Even with Doug Peterson, when Carson Wentz had some of his best years, I don't see that type of I don't see that type of ceiling just yet for my man Sunshine in Jacksonville. So I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where I have to wait and see. He does have some decent pieces around him. I really don't look at their wide receiver core as being something that great. Christian Kirk, is he really that much of an upgrade? I do like Marvin Jones Jr. as being a reliable target. If Laviska Shenault can go ahead and be used correctly, I believe, think he's got a lot of upside, then possibly. But I'm still not really sold on all of the acquisitions that they did at the wide receiver position. So that's another reason.
I think they could have done a better job at the wide receiver position, but they still did bring in that talent. And I'm hoping Doug Peterson will be able to utilize them and run an effective offense, which the Jaguars lacked last season. But he did do it in Philadelphia. He made Nick Foles the Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl winner. Yeah. So if anyone can do it, make up for some lack at the wide receiver position, I think Doug Peterson can do it. And I'm not a big Doug Peterson fan. Will, do you have anything you want to add to the Trevor Lawrence train? Are you hopping on with me?
I think I might. I think I'm gonna add a bold prediction to your bold prediction that I think a lot of the more senior quarterbacks, this is going to be the year you see the drop off of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and all these guys, because I just everybody crashes, and I think this is the year it's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Stafford doesn't have a great year. But we'll see. So, I'll go with, why not? Top 12? Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah. There we go. There we go. That's what I like to hear. Will. Jeff, let's move on to your first bold prediction for this season. Go ahead.
Oh, man, I've got so many. I'm like, which one do I want to start off with? Let's go ahead and talk Chiefs. Okay. My bold prediction is Mecole Hardman goes ahead and outscores Tyreek this year for fantasy purposes. I think if Hardman ends up becoming the wide receiver number one for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes' new number one receiver, I think it opens up a whole lot for him in that offense. Remember in the playoffs, man, they started to use Hardman in a couple of different things. They actually started doing some of those same plays with him that they did with Tyreek Hill. So maybe that's just something. Maybe Bieniemy was saying, hey, if we do lose Tyreek, we might have something here. We got the same amount of speed, maybe just a little bit slower than Tyreek. But I think maybe this third year he could break out and really become an electric player. And if he does that, and if he becomes a guy that a lot of defenses don't respect, and the Chiefs start to utilize him, and Patrick Mahomes looks for him early and often, this dude could become, I would say, a top 10 receiver. And then you're looking at what, Tyreek has throwing him the ball. I don't know if that quote was the truth. I think it was an April Fool's joke talking about that. He went from Patrick Mahomes being a Lamborghini to a used Honda Accord or Civic or something like that with Tua. If that does ring true, I can see Tyreek going beyond the top 10 in the wide receiver ranks.
Yeah, I mean, it's
so
bold.
That's my bold prediction. I'm sticking with it.
It's bold for sure. I mean, Mecole has had the opportunity to emerge as the Chiefs' wide receiver 2 now for the past couple seasons, and he hasn't. With the additions of Juju and MVS, I'm not quite sure this is going to be the breakout year, but it could be. He's got the opportunity now that there is no true wide receiver one outside of, Travis Kelce being the tight end one. Will, anything you want to add to that?
I mean, he has to throw the ball to somebody. So, it'll be interesting to see who they draft at 29 or 30 because there's a couple wide receivers I think that could really work their system. That if they were drafted, they made the kid out of it's Idaho State. He could be would eat in similar type of body frame, smaller wide receiver. It'll just be interesting to see what the Chiefs do. But yeah, they got to throw the ball to somebody. So why not Hardman? I mean, we'll see. Now, I don't know if I go as far as he's going to outperform Tyreek Hill, but we'll see. I think it's a bold prediction, Jeff. It's really bold.
It's a bold prediction, and that's what this show is all about. So I definitely like it. Will, start us off with your first bold prediction here.
Jeff's going to like this one. Russell Wilson is QB1 in the 2022 NFL season. Fantasy QB1. I'm going all in.
Look at that. Look at that. You're turning the knife in my heart right there, man.
Oh, no, man. He got tools. He got the defense. I just think it's especially, and the reason I partly say that too, why it's a bold prediction and why I think people should follow it is we know he's not going to go. I don't know. Maybe there will be some hype, but I don't think he's a top quarterback being drafted. So I think you can get him, and then he's going to give you number QB1 returns. And I think he's going to have a great year in rushing TDs himself this year, and that's what's going to put him over the top as QB1.
I mean, I can see it. He's got the talent at wide receiver. And depending on what the Broncos do at the running back position, you could have him and Devante in the backfield running a little read option. Being Cam Newton-esque at the goal line. Not sure if Russ wants to put his body on the line to make any of those spectacular plays, but he could still get open just with a simple read option if the defense bites in on the run. So it's definitely. I don't know if I'd go top 1. I could definitely see him finishing top 5, though, for sure. But this is a bold prediction.
It's bold prediction, man.
Very bold. Very bold.
Jeff, any thoughts on your boy there, Russell Wilson?
Well, Will could be onto something because Hackett. This is the first time that Russ is sitting down with somebody and they are coming together, creating an offense for him. That's not what he had in Seattle. Pete wanted to run the ball. Russ would go ahead and get close to the offensive coordinators. Then they would work on him, letting him throw the ball. But this time, I think he's got a head coach that wants him to throw the ball, and they're setting up the offense for him to throw the ball. So if he starts letting it loose, man, and I mean, if you look at what he's done with Seattle, where at least at the beginning of the year, he's starting off sizzling. He's cooking, man. And he's, usually 3 to 4 touchdowns a game. So now if he's able to sustain that for a whole season, now that he's got a better defense, a better line and everything else, man, I don't know. I mean, I could see it. I can see it, man.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility. Just that question of, if they want to try and run the ball, because, no coach is just going to say, all right, let's throw the ball here. And then, these wide receivers, they're talented, but they will have to step up, and we'll have to see what they do at the tight end position if they address that in the draft or bring in another veteran. But it could happen for sure. Just a little. I could see top 5. Not sure I see the ceiling for top 1, but it's.
And being in the AFC West, we got to look at that too. Mm-hmm. They're in shootouts, man. They may need him to throw the ball. So that's another thing.
Yeah, but, in a game in the AFC West, you will be a shootout. But the best way to win a shootout is to make sure you have the ball the most. And to do that involves establishing the run game. Because, can Russ keep up with Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs offense or Justin Herbert?
Hey, this year it's not let Russ cook. It's let Russ run. Come on, Russ. Give me one rushing touchdown a game, baby. Just give me that one rushing touchdown a game.
Yeah, that's the thing I think will give him the upside. Just not sure top 1 upside, but I think he can have that rushing work, which is another reason why I do think Trevor Lawrence can also elevate himself this season is with some rushing touchdowns. We're going to move on to my next bold prediction. I can talk about a guy who was hurt the last 3 weeks of the season and finished as a running back 6 in PPR formats. And I predict this guy back with the team is going to finish as the running back 2, and that's Leonard Fournette. I think Leonard Fournette, to me, without Ronald Jones being in that Tampa Bay backfield, with Tom Brady being back, that's a recipe for success. The touchdowns are going to be there. Gronk may or may not come back. So if Gronk doesn't come back, he decides that, he can't commit to football for good, then, there's a touchdown upside that, would have been gone if Gronk was still there. He had 84 targets last season. He started off the season extremely slow, only being on the field for about 50% of the time. It did pick up. And then, as I said, he was out for 3 games. And he was hurt in the 1 game, so he was on the field less than 50% of the time in that game. So for me, Ronald Jones is gone. If you took 15 of Ronald Jones's targets and gave them to Leonard Fournette last season, he would have had the most receptions for a running back. So that's, with missing the games there, you bring that upside with an older Tom Brady who wants to check down the ball when the rush gets to him behind a worse offensive line. His PPR upside to me is top 2, and I could see him finishing as the running back 2. What do you guys think about that? Jeff, any thoughts on Leonard Fournette being the running back 2?
I never really trust Fournette, man, for a full season. That hamstring usually comes in somewhere in a season, and that's what I'm afraid of. And I think that's what will always keep him from becoming a RB1. I don't know. There's just always something with him. Having somebody else back there with him to share carries and to, keep the tread on the tires per se. I think that's usually the best thing. I don't know about him carrying the full load, man. He could prove me wrong. But as far as for me, that is a large that is a very bold prediction. I'll just leave it as that. Very bold.
It is bold, but I think, in Jacksonville, he had a season where he had 100 targets. And that season, he finished as the RB7 in PPR. And he only had 3 rushing touchdowns in that season. He was still that high. So with that rushing touchdown upside, and those targets are definitely going to be there in that offense. Like last season, he only had 180 rushing attempts. But because the targets were still there, he finished as the PPR running back 6. So I think unless he gets hurt, like Jeff said, I think he has a really, really high floor in PPR scoring formats. Will, what are your thoughts on Leonard Fournette being back with the Bucs?
Bucs make me nervous because it's all about Tom Brady coaching change. Like, I get it. People could say that was coming. It's still weird. Sounds like the team's already kind of in a rocky start. And when you start seeing teams having a problem like this in the offseason, that's never a good sign. And I like Todd Bowles. I think he's honestly should be a head coach. I think he'll be a great head coach. I'm just not sure this year is going to be a good year for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have everything in this year, with Tom Brady coming back. If they don't do good this year, it's going to be a steep downhill spiral for the team. Yeah. But I believe in Tom. I think he's got, 1 year left. He wouldn't have come back if he didn't think so.
There is one more thing, too. I do think that even though Ronald Jones is gone, Keyshawn Vaughn might sneak into that position as well. I think they finally thought he's come along long enough to kind of assume that role. So that's another guy I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I think he can come in and take some carries, but I don't think he fully takes away from Leonard Fournette's value. He'll eat into some of Ronald Jones's snaps and targets and everything, but Leonard Fournette, I think, will also assume some of that because to me, Ronald Jones is a much better running back, in my opinion, than Keyshawn Vaughn is currently. So I think they will utilize him more than they did last year, but still utilize him less than they did with Ronald Jones. I think the ceiling is definitely there. He's a guy that could finish as the RB1. I think RB2 is fairly realistic. But, Jeff, let's move on to your second bold prediction. Which one are you going to bring up next?
This one kind of is a twofold one. So if you are a fan of any other team in the AFC North, you may want to cover your ears on this one. But I believe the Steelers will actually win the AFC North And whatever quarterback that they have not named Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins will be fantasy relevant. That's right. Depending if they don't get Malik Willis, if they don't take even a Desmond Ridder in the draft, I think Mitch Trubisky, if he gets the chance, I think he could be fantasy relevant and at least finish within the top 15 of the NFL quarterbacks, the top half of the NFL quarterback rankings. I'm sticking with it, man. I'm telling you, there's something to the thing that Brian Daboll was thinking about taking him with him to New York and the Giants because they want to protect Danny Pennies. They were like, no, we can't bring him here. I think the Steelers were smart to go ahead. I'm telling you, I think there's something there with him, man. They saw something in Buffalo. Honestly, that first year with Chicago, remember who his coach was? Matt Nagy. Not a great coach by any means as a head coach. So that first year, they were a field goal away from actually making it to the higher parts of the playoffs. The next year, the wheels kind of fell off because he had a lot of pressure on him. So I think what happened was a lot of people are down on Trubisky because they were looking at how the Bears missed out on Watson. And that was a big part of it. There was a lot of pressure on Trubisky. Right now, he doesn't have any pressure. I think he can go out there and play. I think he'll fit in. He's kind of got that same Big Ben gruffness to him. He's got legs. He can still throw the ball a little bit. So I'm thinking, man, he's going to be fantasy relevant. I am going to draft him very late. But if he is the starting quarterback for the Steelers, I'm drafting him somewhere on some of my fantasy teams. Now he might be my QB3, but I'm drafting him.
I think he could be a streaming option if he's starting for the Steelers, depending on the matchup. Top 15 to me, I think, is a little out there. It's bold. It's definitely bold. Don't get me wrong. It's bold. But from a guy who doesn't think Trevor Lawrence can finish top 12, not sure how Mitch Trubisky can get in the top 15 there. If Mitch starts for the Steelers, he's got better weapons than Lawrence has. But Lawrence will have a better line. Najee's obviously the better running back. Does that benefit Trubisky, or does that take away from the fact that they can just hand the ball off to Najee 25 times a game? We will see. I'm not confident in Mitch Trubisky. I don't think he starts all 17 games for the Steelers. I think their fans will get, put in Dwayne Haskins, I don't think anyone's going to call for Mason Rudolph, but Steelers fans will be calling for Dwayne Haskins to be put in the game if Trubisky slips up. And I don't think Mike Tomlin can afford to get a losing record. So if Trubisky doesn't pan out, it's a slippery slope. I can see, picking him up if something does happen for, like I said, for a streaming quarterback. But
I'll tell you this: if anybody's calling for Dwayne Haskins, they're in trouble already.
I think they are in trouble for sure. But I think they'll probably draft someone anyways. But it's tough. Will, what do you think? Mitch Trubisky top 15?
Any NFC North fan will tell you, Mitch Trubisky,
he's the worst quarterback in that division.
Oh my God. And if they draft a quarterback, the fans are going to be screaming for the quarterback, whoever they draft, first or second round. So we're going to. Yeah, I drop off too, Jeff. I
think he left. He was like, "Nah, this decision was actually a bad one. Time to leave."
That was too bold. Let me reset.
He'll come back in for his next one and be like, "All right, guys, I'm back."
I'm back. Is the coast clear? Was that too bold?
Did everyone forget about Mitch Trubisky? Like, come on, Jeff. Top 15. Trevor Lawrence.
Hey, man,
I guess people didn't like that Mitch Trubisky, so they kicked me out.
No, that was the Bear fans laughing so hard that caused a disruption in the gravitational pull of the United States. So yeah, dude, that was That's why the birds are chirping behind you. It's, dude, just sit
Perfect
right there.
timing. Perfect timing. You bold prediction, and then all of a sudden you're gone.
Yeah, exactly.
No proof to back up the statement. Maybe it's a weak argument. Maybe, yeah.
I was getting chased by some Bengals fans out here. That's what
There
it
you
was.
go. There you go. Will, let's move on to your next bold prediction. What you got on deck for us?
Deebo Samuels is wide receiver 1. Bold. You said be bold, Zach, so I'm going to be bold. And the reason I'm going to put him there because I think he gets more touches out of the running back position than people think. Mm-hmm. And I think they're actually going to build the offense around him.
They would be smart to.
And if they start Trey Lance, what a better hey, look, dude, read option, give it to him or throw it to him in the flat. Mm-hmm. Either way, Deebo. Now, I'm a little worried about Deebo staying healthy. But since we're saying bold predictions, I'm going to put it out there that he's wide receiver 1. Could be wrong. Could be wrong, but I'm going to go out there with it.
I'm a big Deebo fan. I think he's got all the talent in the world. I love that they were using him at the running back position with those 8 rushing touchdowns last season.
Yeah.
If he can duplicate that number, at least come close to it, I think he's definitely got a shot. I think I'd prefer him to have Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. Yeah. Just that veteran savvy quarterback as opposed to starting Trey Lance. So with Jimmy, I could see a top 1 upside at the wide receiver position. With Trey Lance, I think that the passing upside of Deebo kind of goes away. So he can still be valuable. But with Jimmy Garoppolo, I think he could definitely be that guy. And I think the Niners should build their offense around him. And as long as he stays healthy there, the sky's the limit for Deebo Samuel. Jeff, what are your thoughts on Deebo?
I mean, wide receiver 1 is a little bit high for me just because, we all know that Kyle Shanahan still runs the show as far as the offense there. But now with them changing to a different coordinator, I don't know exactly what they're going to look like. And then there's too many questions at the quarterback position. That's the thing. If it's Trey Lance, I think that's going to cut a lot of his running touchdowns that he was getting as far as Deebo Samuel. I think that's going to go ahead. The ball's going to be kept by Lance, and he's going to go. And then, there was still some questions about Lance's accuracy like last year. He was overthrowing guys quite a bit. So I that's the only thing. And then also looking at the fact that the 49ers are not a really heavily throwing team. It's usually their running backs, then they'll pop it to Kittle or something like that. So I don't know. I can definitely see him being a Swiss Army knife. I don't see him being the number 1 wide receiver. I don't even see him being the total, having the highest number of touchdowns as a wide receiver versus the rest of the league. So I will give him in the top 5, though. I think that's very possible. But number 1, that is very bold for me.
It's bold, but I like it. Because I think Deebo with that rushing upside, that's something that a lot of running back or wide receivers don't have.
Bold.
And if the 49ers, because he only really started to get used at running back position around like week 9 or something like that. So if they do that the entire season and he stays healthy, that's going to increase. He could have more than 8 rushing touchdowns. And if he touches more than 8 rushing touchdowns and he stays healthy the entire season, I think he's probably a shoo-in to be at least wide receiver 1 or 2. It's
too. That's the other thing.
And with Seattle and Arizona on your schedule, that
Seattle matchup's looking pretty good.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Drew Lock, baby. Drew Lock.
Okay.
It's not like, he's going to be lining up against the $60 million safeties the Seahawks have. So he's pretty much good to line up anywhere else. And he should be able to score lots of points.
Okay.
That's not even a bold prediction at that point. Having good games against the Seahawks.
As long as he doesn't get hurt walking off the sideline into the game, which a lot of the 49ers are known for doing.
Yeah. I don't know. The 49ers need to reevaluate their whole strength and conditioning.
Exactly. Exactly.
Maybe they need a new strength and conditioning coach. I have no idea what their problem is, but
it's that stadium. The stadium
That's
is
it.
horrible.
Could be. Yeah, it could be Levi Stadium. Who knows?
Time for another new stadium. Go back to Candlestick. Go back to Candlestick. Can we get some posters made up?
Wait, you really want to drive it? Wait, let's drive everybody crazy. The Oakland 49ers.
Ooh, there you go. There you go. The San Diego. Go to San Diego. San Diego.
I can see that.
They got some fan bases there. But let's move on to my next. This is my next bold prediction. This is a guy I was bullish on before free agency. I'm talking about Allen Robinson. I think Allen Robinson will finish inside the top 15 at the wide receiver position. I think Cooper Kupp also finishes within the top 15. They're an extremely high volume passing offense with Sean McVay. I think they brought him in for a reason. We saw how productive Odell was. And even if they bring Odell back, he won't be ready till at least the later half of the season. So, if Allen Robinson's out there as the wide receiver 2, and Sean McVay offense that we've seen is an extremely productive position, a guy who has had over 150 targets multiple times, has had top wide receiver finishes throughout his career. We've seen a Robert Woods in that offense do extremely well, and I think Allen Robinson is more talented than Robert Woods. We've seen Jared Goff have a top 14 wide receiver in Robert Woods and a top 5 wide receiver in Cooper Kupp in that offense, and Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback than Jared Goff. Don't think I'm going to get any arguments there, even from the Matthew Stafford hater of Will. So I think, this is a great opportunity for Allen Robinson to come back out and prove that the Bears were the problem for him last year. I think, the offense is great. A super talented wide receiver who won't get a lot of double coverages because you can't leave Cooper Kupp one-on-one. I'm excited for Allen Robinson in a high-volume offense to be that wide receiver 2. They paid him big bucks. They're going to utilize him well. So I think Allen Robinson will be a top 15 wide receiver. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Well, this is going to segue kind of nicely into something else that's coming later on. I can see him doing well, just like the way Odell was plugged in. Just another good receiver that the Rams have, had basically fell into their lap. I just want to see what that chemistry is going to be like with Stafford. That's my only thing. There's just a couple other guys that are still on that Rams roster that are going to demand targets as well. You got Higbee there. You've got Jefferson there. And it's all going to depend on, because just like you said, I have a feeling that Cooper Kupp is going to be double teamed. So it's who are those extra balls going to go to?
Yeah, I think that Stafford will have the whole offseason to develop chemistry with Allen Robinson. We saw Stafford and Odell develop that chemistry extremely quick during the season, so I think we could see something like that happen. Will, what are your thoughts on Allen Robinson this season on the Rams?
I think Bear fans are going to have a problem with this program. that's my bold prediction. I think Bear fans what is it? Why are you picking on us today? Well, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how that wide receiver room shakes out with the Rams. Because I do think teams are going to be like, Cooper Kupp does not beat us. No way.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let him beat us. I'm going to make Stafford throw to somebody else. And we'll see who that somebody else is that emerges. I do think Allen Robinson has a lot more potential this year than he did last year. So
yeah, he can't do worse than he did last year.
He cannot do worse
unless he doesn't play. So it's only up from here, Allen Robinson. I want to see this happen. But yeah, to me, Allen Robinson is the second most talented wide receiver on that offense. And I think they're smart enough to utilize the guy they paid. Jeff, this is your segue. Talk about your next guy.
Whoa. This is a very, very bold prediction. I'm going to get in my truck and drive away as I'm talking.
He's ready to drop off.
He's really going to drive off.
Exactly. But
drive into the sunset.
Speaking of the Rams, I think their top receiver this year will be none other than Van Jefferson. I think he will be the one that emerges, overshadows everybody, and has a breakout year and becomes the number one receiver in that offense this year. He has developed some chemistry with Matthew Stafford. His route running ability, man, it's great. I've talked to a lot of guys that follow the Rams, and they are in love with this guy. So they were even thinking that if they lose Odell, that he's going to be able to step into the wide receiver 2 position. But like we're saying, everything with Cooper Kupp possibly being double teamed a whole lot. Now you got to worry about Allen Robinson. I think this guy could get a lot of targets this year and end up being the wide receiver number 1 in that offense.
That's extremely bold with Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson being there. I don't know. I think that the targets, I don't think they'll be there enough to, I don't think he will out-target Cooper Kupp. I don't think he will out-target Allen Robinson because Allen Robinson's my guy. Will, what are your thoughts on Van Jefferson being the wide receiver 1 for the Rams?
Well, when you're playing Seattle and Arizona twice.
Hey. We're going to stop all this Seattle slander. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, just wait till Allen Robinson and Van Jefferson are absolutely carving up that secondary.
Woo!
Hey.
I'm just saying. You said be bold.
That's not a bold prediction, though, Will. We all know the Seahawks defenses.
Yeah. So I'll give Jeff credit on that one, though, because someone's going to, right? If we all agree that Cooper Kupp's going to be taken out.
I thought I had lost you guys.
No, I was just saying I kind of agree with you. If Cooper Kupp is going to be taken out, I think teams are going to put their third corner. Well, it just depends where Jefferson lines up, right? He's going to line up on the outside. He's not going to be in the slot. So He's not going to be in motion. So it just depends on how teams play defense. Do they move their best corner to mirror Kupp? Do they double team Kupp with a slot corner and a safety? The nickel corner and the safety, And then I guess it just depends on Stafford. Is Stafford going to feel like Jefferson's my go-to when nobody else is there?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, Kupp being taken out of the offense, defense are going to do what they can, but that's still going to look like 7 to 10 targets a game at least, with coming out with the receptions off that. I don't know. I'm bullish on Allen Robinson, so therefore I cannot be bullish on Van Jefferson.
All right.
Got you.
But everyone knew I was going to be bullish on Allen Robinson even before he signed with the Rams, so I'm just riding with it. I think it's a good situation. Will, what is your – you want to add something there?
I was going to say, so what, if Cordell Patterson had gone to the Rams, you wouldn't have –
Now, if Cordell Patterson went to the Rams, I think Van Jefferson would have been in for a top 15 type season that Allen Robinson's about to have. So,
okay, I'm going to leave poor Cordell alone. All right, so my final bold prediction, and then I'm going to go home on this one. And this is going to come back to bite me. I already know I'm jinxing myself. But I'm going to say it. Dalvin Cook is RB1 in this new offense, which will utilize him more in a passing threat and not a running threat. Dalvin Cook is RB1.
Wow.
I hope so. Got him in Dynasty, so need him to show up this year. But like you said, the passing work is really what sets running backs apart when it comes to PPR formats. Bringing in that new Rams offense to Minnesota with all the talent they have. Kirk Cousins is probably on the same level, if not maybe a little below Matt Stafford right now. And, Justin Jefferson, he's amazing. Dalvin Cook is much better than Cam Akers, in my opinion. So, I like it. I can see it happening. I want it to happen. It's bold, but, it's doable.
Do we play Seattle?
Is it really bold?
I think we play Seattle this year.
Do you play Seattle this year? Well, then it's a
Vikings
guarantee if you play Seattle.
All of this Seahawks slander.
Well, Jeff, you're going to be a Bronco fan or a Pittsburgh fan by the time the season starts because Seattle's going to make you so mad.
Very true. Very true. That could happen. It could happen.
After the draft, if they don't get Malik Willis, I think you might have a little bit of a problem with your friends in Seattle.
That, and if DK would have been traded, that would have been
Woo!
it. I was about to be out.
Oh, they don't play Seattle. This is unfortunate.
Oh, this is the first year.
They play Arizona, though. They play Arizona, so
go.
they've still got
Jeff, that should have been one of my bold predictions is how long will you be a Seahawk fan?
What are we giving them over under week 1?
Okay. What are the odds on that over under week 1?
He's going to show up, in the offseason with a Broncos jersey onto one of these shows. Or he's going to have a Mitch Trubisky top 15 jersey.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
I'll say
rocking that yellow and black.
Whichever team player from the Broncos or Pittsburgh uses the media app, that'll be where his loyalty goes. Come on, Pittsburgh and Denver. You hear me? Use the app. Do a press conference. Tell Jeff why he should be on your bandwagon.
Yeah. Jeff will be hopping. He'll be hopping over to one of those two teams. That's for sure. I mean, for his benefit, I hope he doesn't.
Actually, we should have a contest. Bronco and Steeler fans, use the app. Let's figure out Jeff something to give away. Use the app and convince Jeff why he should switch to your team.
I feel like the Broncos have a stronger argument to make than the Steelers do because Russ is probably a little bit better than that Mitch Trubisky guy.
Yeah, we won't ask Seattle fans to participate because I don't think there's anything they could say that'll make that argument.
Nope. Looks like we are losing Jeff, though. But, he's just running away. He's like, I don't want to pick a new team. Drew Lock's not going to be our starting quarterback.
No, not this year. Oh, boy.
But that is the end of our bold prediction show. I hope you guys liked the picks. Thank you, Will, and thanks to Jeff for joining. I like the boldness. We'll see which of these come true. Make sure you guys tune in next week, and thank you.
Thank you, Zach. All right, everybody. See you next week. Oh, there's Jeff. Hey, Jeff, just for the end. Say goodbye, Jeff. All right, we out.